I'm 28 female. I never thought I'd be posting here, but after the events at my sister's wedding, I'm genuinely questioning if I did the right thing. Some background for you guys. I'm mixed. My father is African American and my mother is white. My sister Lily is getting married to her fiancé James, who comes from a wealthy white family. Our family is a beautiful blend. My mom remarried a wonderful black man when I was young, and we have a white stepsister Emma from my stepdad's previous marriage. We've always been close and never really thought much about our differences. We don't care. Yesterday was supposed to be Lily's perfect day. The venue was stunning, the weather was beautiful, and Lily looked absolutely radiant in her dress. Everything seemed picture perfect until I started noticing something odd about the photographer. At first I thought I was being just paranoid, but as the days drew on, it became impossible to ignore it. The photographer was clearly avoiding taking pictures of our side of the family. He would snap a few obligatory shots during the ceremony, but during the reception, he was blatantly focusing on James' side of the family and the white guests. I tried to brush it off, not wanting to cause any drama on Lily's big day, but when I saw him actively turn away when my stepdad was dancing with Lily, something in me just snapped, you know. I approached the photographer, trying to keep my cool, and asked if there was a problem. The poor guy looked absolutely terrified. He stammered for a bit before finally admitting that James's mother, the mother-in-law from hell, had given him strict instructions to just, quote, focus on the right side of the family. And obviously to minimize shots of the others. He showed me the text messages that she sent him and I saw red. I know I should have taken a deep breath and thought it through, but all I could think about was how hurt Lily would be if she found out. How crushed my parents would be to barely feature in their daughter's wedding album. So I marched straight up to mother-in-law. I confronted her, asking how she could be so cruel and racist on her son's wedding day. She tried to play dumb at first, but when I mentioned the text to the photographer, her whole demeanor changed. She hissed at me, saying I had no right to interfere and that if I did not back off, she would cancel the whole entire wedding right then and there. You know, by this point, we attracted a lot of attention. James came over, looked confused, and I'd say he looked really upset. Lily was close behind. Her eyes were shocked. I told her what's going on, showing them the text from mother-in-law to the photographer. And all hell broke loose. James was furious with his mom. Lily was in tears, and the mother-in-law was screeching about how I ruined everything. My parents and stepdad were trying to calm everybody down while Emma was just standing there looking horrified. The wedding did not get canceled, but the atmosphere was tense for the rest of the night. Lily and James left early, both looking absolutely devastated. The mother-in-law was ushered out by some relatives, still ranting about how I, quote, destroyed her son's special day. This morning, I woke up to a flood of messages. Family members are praising me for standing up to the racism, while others are furious that I would cause such a scene at the wedding. Lily texted me saying she needs some time to process everything. I stand by my decision to confront my mother-in-law's blatant racism, but I can't help but feel guilty about the fallout. Should I have just kept quiet for Lily's sake? Was there a better way to handle it? So guys, I'm coming to you to simply ask, am I the a-hole for confronting my sister's mother-in-law at the wedding and potentially ruining my sister's big day? Edit. Oh my gosh, this blew up overnight. Thank you for the responses. Here's some common questions to answer. Yes, James knew about his mother's racism before the wedding. He thought that she was getting better and would not pull anything at the wedding. Clearly, he was wrong. Lily and James are currently on their honeymoon. They've decided to go ahead with the trip to have some time to themselves and figure things out. Lily says that she would call me when she gets back. The photographer has apologized profusely and offered to do a free photo session for our whole family. Yeah, just to make up for it. We're considering taking him up on the offer. To those asking about James's reaction, he was genuinely shocked and angry at his mom. He's been texting me apologies nonstop, and I believed he truly did not know that she would go this far. For those wondering about legal action, we're looking into our options. But right now, our main focus is supporting Lily and James. What's up, guys? Mr. Reddito here. Oh my gosh, today's story is about to get so much crazier. I have multiple updates for you today, but I do want to know in the comment section down below, Have you guys ever been in a situation like this where it was straight up blatant racism being showed to you? Let me know in the comment section down below, but guys, buckle your seatbelts, sit back and relax because update number 1 is coming, and man, is it wild. First of all, I want to thank everyone for their responses to my original post. Your support and advice has been incredibly helpful during this difficult time. A lot's happened since the wedding, and I wanted to give you all an update. The tension after my confrontation with mother-in-law was insane. It felt like the entire reception hall was holding its breath, waiting to see what would happen next. I could feel eyes on me from every direction, sympathetic, others accusatory. The happiness and celebration that had filled the air just moments before had been replaced by a thick, uncomfortable silence. Word of what happened spread through the wedding guests like wildfire. It was like watching a game of telephone, but with much higher stakes. I could see people whispering to each other, shocked expressions spreading across the face as the news traveled. Some guests were very visibly upset, while others seemed to be taking sides, forming little clusters of hushed conversations. My parents and stepfather were trying to keep things calm, but I could see the hurt and anger in their eyes. Emma, my stepsister, had moved closer to me, her hand on my arm in silent support, and I was grateful for her presence, even as guilt gnawed at me for potentially ruining Lily's big day. The hardest part was watching the news reach my sister, Lily, and her new husband, James. Lily's face fell as one of her bridesmaids whispered in her ears. Her eyes immediately seeked me across the room. The look of confusion and hurt on her face is something I'll never forget. James, standing beside her, seemed to go through a range of emotions in rapid succession. I've never seen someone's demeanor change so quickly. James, who had been all smiles and laughter throughout the day, suddenly looked like he was ready to explode. I mean, his jaws were clenched and his fists were balled at his side. Without a word to anybody, he strode purposefully across the room towards his mom. What happened next was both awful and in a way relieving. James confronted his mother right there in the middle of the reception. His voice was usually calm and measured, but it rang out loud and clear. "Mother, how could you on my wedding day?" My wife's family?" The mother-in-law tried to defend herself to downplay what she had done, but James wasn't having it. He demanded to see her phone, and when she refused, he called the photographer over. The poor guy, looking like he wanted the ground to swallow him whole, confirmed everything. James, well, to say he lost it would be an understatement. He railed at his mother, calling her out on years of subtle racism and microaggressions that he apparently has been trying to ignore or excuse. It all came pouring out, incidents from his childhood, comments she made about Lily and our family, everything. "Remember when you told me not to date Lily because it would complicate things?" James shouted, his voice cracking with emotion. "Or when you asked if our kids would look more like her or like us? I tried to believe you were just ignorant, that you could change, but this is deliberately cruelty. Mom, this is racism, plain and simple." The entire reception watched in stunned silence as years of family drama unfolded before their eyes. Lily stood frozen, tears down her face, and I wanted to go comfort her, but I felt rooted to the spot. James' father tried to intervene, looking embarrassed and angry. "Son, perhaps we should discuss this in private." "No, Dad." James cut him off. "I'm done hiding this. I'm done making excuses. Mom needs to understand what she's done." He turned back to his mother, who was now red-faced and sputtering. "You've had chances after chance to accept Lily and her family. They've shown you nothing but kindness, and this is how you repay them? By trying to erase them from our wedding memories." The mother-in-law finally found her voice. "I was just trying to protect our family's image." "Our family's image?" "Our family's image is one of love and acceptance. Or at least it should be, but you're tarnishing that image with your bigotry." Finally, James turned to Lily and our family. The look on his face was determination. "I'm so sorry." His voice thick with emotion. "I knew my mother had issues, but I never imagined she would go this far. I hoped she was getting better." He took a deep breath and looked straight at his mother and said, "I need to make a decision right here, right now." Everyone held their breath, waiting to see what James would do. Would he side with his mother, ask her to leave, call off the wedding entirely? James opened up his mouth to speak, but before he could, Lily stepped forward. She placed a hand on his arm, and the look that passed between them was so full of love and understanding that I felt my throat tighten. "James, whatever you decide, we decide together. We're a team now, you know?" The relief on James' face was there. He nodded, took Lily's hand, and together they turned their face to his mom. Mom, what you've done today is unforgivable. But more than that, it's shown us that you haven't changed at all. So now Lily and I have a choice to make, and we need to have some time to make it. With that, James and Lily walked out of the reception hall hand in hand, leaving a stunned silence in their wake. Then, mother-in-law stood there, mouth agape, as murmurs started up again around the room. I wanted to follow them and make sure they were okay, but Emma held me back. Give them some space, she whispered. They need to figure this out together. So that's where we are now. James and Lily have been holed up in their hotel room for hours. The reception is over, most of the guests have left, and both families are waiting anxiously to hear what they've decided. Final updates. Guys, I never thought I'd be back here with another update, but the situation has escalated beyond anything we could have imagined. What started as a wedding day drama turned into a full-blown family crisis. I feel like we're all caught up in a tornado of chaos. First of all, thank you for the continued support. Now, let me catch you up on the absolute madness that's unfolded since my last update. Mother-in-law has gone nuclear. She's on some full-blown revenge campaign that would make Shakespeare's villain proud. She's been reaching out to family members, friends, and even my sister Lily's workplace, spinning a web of lies about how we viciously attacked her at the wedding and forced James, to choose between her and Lily. According to her version of the events, we're basically the mafia, and she's the innocent victim of our family's cruel stuff. The most shocking development: father-in-law, who initially seemed to be on our side, has now fully taken mother-in-law's side. He's gone from quietly supportive of James to threatening to cut him off of the family's business if he doesn't make things right with mother-in-law. We strongly suspect mother-in-law has manipulated him into his stance, playing the victim card to perfection. It's like watching a masterclass in emotional manipulation, and it's terrifying. James is absolutely torn, guys. The family business isn't just a job for him, it's his career. His passion and, frankly, his livelihood. He's worked there since college, climbing the ranks and pouring his heart into the company. The thought of losing it all is devastating, but at the same time, he's furious at his parents' behavior. He feels betrayed, manipulated, and backed into a corner. Lily is stressed beyond belief. She's internalized all of this, convinced that she's the cause of James potentially losing everything. I've tried to reassure her that none of this is her fault, that she's the victim of mother-in-law's racism and manipulation. But she's just struggling to believe it. The guilt is eating her alive, and I'm worried about her mental state. The extended family's divided, and it's like watching a real-life soap opera unfold. Some relatives see through mother-in-law's lies, recognizing her behavior for the manipulation it is. They've been supported, offering words of encouragement and standing firmly on our side. But others are buying into mother-in-law's victim act, hook, line, and sinker. They've been calling and messaging, demanding to know how we could be so cruel to poor Sarah, who only wanted to be involved in her son's special day. Holiday plans are an absolute shambles. Thanksgiving's coming up, and it turns into a game of picking sides. Some relatives are refusing to attend if we're there, while others won't come if mother-in-law's present. It's tearing the family apart. And the stress is obviously in the air. What should be a time for gratitude and togetherness has become a political minefield. But the coup de grace? Mother-in-law showed up unannounced at Lily and James' home last weekend. She caused an absolute ruckus, screaming and demanding to be welcomed back to the family. She even tried to force her way inside, claiming that she had every right to be in her son's home. James had to physically block the door while Lily called me in a panic. It got so bad that James had to threaten to call the police before mother-in-law finally left. Lily was shaking for hours afterward, and we've tried to be the big person here. We've attempted family meditation, hoping that a neutral third party could help us work through this mess. But mother-in-law refused to acknowledge her racist behavior at all. She insisted that she was the victim, demanding apologies from everyone, me for confronting her, and James for choosing his wife over his mom, Lily for stealing her son, and even my parents for raising such a disrespectful child. The mediator was at a loss, and the session ended with mother-in-law storming out, claiming we were all ganging up on her. I'm at my wit's end, watching my sister and brother-in-law go through this heartbreak. They should be enjoying newlywed bliss, not dealing with a nightmare. James is considering giving in to his parents' demands just to keep the peace and save his career. But I can see how much the idea absolutely pains him. Lily's torn between supporting her husband and standing up against the blatant racism and emotional abuse. As for me, I'm struggling with guilt. If I had not confronted mother-in-law at the wedding, would all of this still have happened? Or would her racism have festered under the surface, poisoning the relationship slowly over time? I stand by my decision to call out her behavior, but the consequences have been far beyond anything I could have imagined. We're considering seeking legal advice, especially after the incident at Lily and James' home. But we're worried that taking legal action will only escalate things further and permanently fracture the family. I don't know what the future holds for our family. Can relationships even recover from this level of betrayal and manipulation? Is there any coming back from this trauma and hurt? Right now it feels like we're in the middle of a storm with absolutely no sign of the end.